Hello, and welcome to IEDU Day 7A, Speaking TOEIC. Today we will be looking at Part 6 of the Speaking TOEIC. TOEIC Part 6. TOEIC Part 6 is expressing an opinion. This is very similar to when you are writing an opinion paragraph or essay. When you're doing this, there are some things you need to think about. First of all, you will be able to read and listen to the prompt, and then you will have 15 seconds to prepare. 15 seconds is not a lot of time, so we'll talk about that in the hints and when we do the samples. Then you're supposed to talk for 60 seconds about your opinion on the question. You should try to talk the entire time. What they are looking for is a well thought out opinion. You should give multiple reasons, and they should be in rank. To show the ranking of these things, then you should probably use words like first, second, third. The other thing you have to keep in mind with this is there is no perfect answer. If you choose one side or the other side of the question does not matter. These types of things will have two possible sides. For instance, something along the lines of, do you like to work in a team or by yourself? Depending on the job you're in and the situation you're in, both are extremely important. But which one do you prefer? Obviously, it's about something you prefer. There can't be a right or wrong answer. It's how you support your opinion that is part of the grade. This is graded the same way as parts 3, 4, and 5, with pronunciation, intonation and stress, grammar, vocabulary, cohesion, which is like organization, relevance of answer, and completeness of answer. So, let's move forward and take a look at some hints. Number 1, make sure you give a strong opinion. What does this mean? This means a lot of the questions have two sides. Do you prefer A or B? It's asking which one's your preference, and in all honesty, both of them are good choices in most cases. One example of this, do you prefer working in a group or do you prefer to work alone? Depending on the job you have, either one might be correct. So keep this in mind that both are good answers, but which one do you prefer? So pick one and support that. That is what I mean by giving a strong opinion. It's not a good idea to talk about how both sides are good, because then the listener will not know which one you prefer. It is all right to mention the other side, and you might mention how it is bad about why the other one is good. But don't do that too much, because it will become too negative of an opinion. 2, support that position. After you've picked, well, in my example, 1, teams or alone, come up with 2 or 3 reasons why you said that. This is actually going to be what you use your 15 seconds to thinking time to do, is you're going to try to come up with 2 or 3 reasons to explain what you said. Next, start speaking when you hear the beep and talk the entire time. As an example, if you have to say that it is best to have a higher pay and shorter vacations, do not explain how you want to spend a month backpacking in Europe, so stay on topic. It is also a bad idea to say you don't care what kind of pay and vacation combination you have. So make sure you understand the question and talk the entire time. Hint 4, use complete sentences. This is testing speaking, not conversational speaking, so treat it as such. Also, in a big business setting where your boss asks your opinion, you would probably want to use a slightly higher level and complete of English, and using complete sentences would allow you to do that. Next, make sure you use a wide variety of grammatical forms. The test is grading grammatical range, not just correctness. They could include simple, complex, and compound sentences, using coordinate conjunctions, subordinate conjunctions, also passive voice, relative clauses, adjectives to describe things, infinitives, and all of the other grammatical forms are important to make your opinion understood as fully as possible. For this part, it is extremely important to have an introduction, support, and conclusion. For a why question, if you're choosing which one is better, that is like, why do you like it better? So you would start off with an introduction, and then you would go through support and a conclusion. If the question does ask you about timeline type things, then you would use a story format, which would be beginning, middle, and end, and it follows a timeline for organization instead. Next, record yourself. Part of why we are doing the homeworks the way that we're doing with Speaking TOEIC is to force you to start to actually speak when you're practicing to take a speaking test. So if you record yourself, you should probably also listen to your recording after you finish. Play the recording back. Can you hear any problems? Can you make it better? Pronunciation, intonation, and stress, your logic, your grammar, vocabulary. Do you hear a lot of the word or when I picked this okay, that's not very good. That's not very smooth. It's going to show that you aren't using your vocabulary to its full capability. Some people do this naturally, and this is something that you need to fight back. It is actually better to be quiet than to say or Next, practice your timing, and with this, you're going to preparation and reading times. Well, after you get done recording yourself, look at the time. How long is it? If it's a minute, great, no problem. If it's more than a minute, fine, not a problem. If it's 30 seconds, what more could you have said to make it longer? Another thing that can help you is if you can work in a team. If you can find someone else who likes studying English and practice doing these questions back and forth together. Practicing recording yourself, but also having a friend critique what you're saying. Tell them to critique your speed, pronunciation, intonation and stress, grammar, vocabulary, cohesion. How relevant is your answer? How complete is your answer? This is what you're going to be graded on the midterm, or if you take the Speaking TOEIC. So have a friend grade you if you know someone who likes English. An extra set of ears will help point out ways that maybe you could improve yourself. Once you've actually diagnosed a problem, for instance, maybe RL, there is a way to fix these problems. You just need to spend the time to do it and to actually find them. And you'll never find them if you don't listen to your own recordings. So, Part 6. Part 6 is basically an opinion essay. So, the first thing you're going to do is actually state your opinion first. Actually, before that, you would probably go through some background. So state some background about the question. Probably just kind of repeat the question as a statement. Then let the listener know which side you stand on. If you forget this and make them figure it out, you are not stating your opinion in the strongest way. This is like the thesis statement. So, in my opinion, it is best to work in a team. Then you would list your first reason why. Once again, taking some notes and coming up with 2 or 3 reasons during that 15 seconds will save you from thinking about this. And then support that with 1 or 2 things that actually help it. Maybe an example, maybe something from a group project you did at university, which worked well. Possibly a supporting reason, like it should take less time if you're working in a group, for instance. Okay. What I mean by this is you can delegate, you can break up the problem into smaller pieces and give each person a piece and then put them together at the end, which saves everyone in the group time. That would be supporting it. An example of this was one of my university projects where we did this. Okay. Second reason, one or two things to support it. Third reason, one or two things to support it. And then restate your position. And that is why I like to work in a group the best. This formula, if you look at a formula for an essay or even a paragraph, you will find something very, very similar. So this is basically a spoken essay. Here's an example. Some people prefer to take a job that does not pay well, but does provide a lot of time off from work. What is your opinion about taking a job with a low salary that has a lot of vacation time? Give reasons for your opinion. So, how do you start this? Restate the question. Well, you've actually got a sentence here already. Some people prefer to take a job that does not pay well, but does provide a lot of time off for work. That's your background. Just read that sentence. If it's not worded as a sentence, turn it into a sentence instead of a question, and you've got your background. After that, state your opinion. Is it a good idea to take a job that has a lot of vacation time and less pay, or would you rather have higher salary and less vacation time? So you're going to say, I do not think that this is a good idea. I would rather take a job that has higher salary and less vacation time. Then support your opinion. So low salary, lot of vacation time, or high salary, short vacation time. Obviously, everyone would love to have high salary, high vacation time as the perfect job. Most people do not have that perfect job. So let's take a look at this. What side? Write one down. So which side are you on? I am on the side of high pay, short vacation. And this is what you're doing during your thinking time, is you're actually trying to take some notes and write down your position. Next, why? Why do I want that? Well, the first reason is save money. So, next reason, what are some other reasons for wanting high pay, shorter vacation? Well, if you don't have any money, it's going to be a bad vacation. There we go. Oop, no B in vacation. Okay, point 3. What's a third point? Coming up with at least 3 will help you a lot. And possibly point 3 would be future. So now this could be tied with saving money. So maybe fourth point, if you can have time for this, it's great. If you don't, well then obviously you need to find another way. So if these 3 points don't work for you, what might be another point is help parents, possibly. So if you put future with saving money, then helping parents might take over as your third point. Rank them. Which one is the most important? Probably future save money is more important than bad vacation or help parents. Which one's number 2? This is your 15 seconds. After you get that done, then start talking about it. Go back, look at the question, rework the question in as a background. Some people take a lower salary and but have a lot of vacation. I do not think this is a good idea. I would much rather have a higher pay and a shorter vacation when I first start working. The first reason why is that I can save money for my future. See, I just put in my point 1. As I'm starting, I have student loans that need to be paid off. I also need to start to think about my future. If I get married or have children, those take a lot of money. I will need to purchase an apartment and a car, and also start thinking about all of the things that need to go into an apartment, and that takes money. So a higher pay would help me do that. My second point is my parents have put a lot of money into me, helping me pay for my university education as well as all of the education before that. So by being able to have a high pay, I would be able to help support my parents and help them have a more comfortable time now that they've finished with me, and help supporting them. Finally, if you have a low pay, the long vacation will not be very good because you have no money to spend on it. By having a higher pay, I will be able to save money, help my parents, and still be able to take during my short vacation periods a much higher quality of vacation. So rather than staying in a tent or the cheapest hotel I can find, I can actually go to a resort and enjoy myself better. This is how you would use this. This is why you put it up there. As you're talking, this will help trigger your memory of what your 3 points are. If they're not written down, there's a good chance after you've done 1 or 2, you'll forget what the third one is, and that will lead to a lot of erring towards the end of your speech. So keep this in mind while you're going through. Next, remember the formula. Background, main idea, point 1 support, point 2 support, point 3 support, wrap it up. That was what I did in my sample. So here is another example. Some people wish they could live in warm climates all year round. These places get very hot during certain months of the year. In fact, studies show that heat can lead to greater crime. Do you think that people in warm climates lead happier lives or not? State your opinion and provide reasons for your view. Okay? So, what are you going to do? Think formula first. Background, main idea, point 1, point 2, point 3. So during your thinking time, write down point 1, point 2, point 3. So, what am I going to talk about as my background? That's already written. You have several sentences here that are not before the question. Just read those back. Well, it is true that some people wish they could live in a warm climate all year round. These places get very hot during certain months of the year. In fact, studies show that heat can lead to greater crime. However, I do not think that the warmer climate is the reason for this crime. I believe that in the warm climates, people could lead a happier life. I just did my background by reading this, and then I've done my statement. I've disagreed with their statement, and I've come up with happier as my position. Need to come up with 3 reasons why next. The 15 seconds should have done that. My first reason is it's economic, not temperature. My second reason, now at least 2, and this one I probably would only come up with 2, is air conditioning. So, even if it is a hot climate, nowadays we have air conditioning, so that's not an issue. So, I would go through, but that's not my main thing. It's actually economic. Most of the countries in the warmer climates are not as developed as those in the southern climate. So, we cannot compare countries like Nepal or the African countries that are in there, like Ghana, with countries like the United States or Korea, because they have different economic standings. If we look for some areas in the heat belt and the tropics which have a good economy, and then we can compare happiness and crime numbers. So if we look at Hong Kong and we look at, say, Shanghai, they're cities, not countries, but they are in warmer climates. Or we look at Singapore and even Malaysia. And then we compare those with the cooler climates. then we would see that happiness is not related to temperature, it's related to economic standing. There have been studies that have shown that money, while it may not equal happiness, does up to a certain point because of the stress of not having money can bring to families. That would be my first point. My second point would be air conditioning. And even during those hotter months, you just turn on the air conditioner and you don't have to worry about overheating, possibly causing crime. But really, the economics is the main one. So, brainstorming on the idea, what areas other than what I said, other than economics and air conditioning, can you come up with? Probably you can come up with some other ones. Maybe it's something you studied in one of your classes that might trigger in at this point, okay? So kind of think it through and then give an answer. I've already given a sample, so you've got an idea. Keep the formula in mind. Homework. Record your response to the following question. There is a question at the end of this video. Upload the file, your recorded file, to the LMS. It is worth 10 points. This is graded based on completion. What we are trying to do with this is we're trying to get you to actually talk out loud while you're practicing for a speaking test. There will be a speaking test on day 9 for this class where you will have to do all 6 parts of the test. So we want to make sure you have some background on that before you take this test. It is worth 10 points. We will check to make sure that the file is there, but we will not make specific comments. Here is the question. Some companies make donations to local charities and community groups. Other companies do not and leave it up to their staff to decide whether to make personal donations. Should companies donate part of their profits to charities? State your opinion and provide reasons for your view. Remember to try to talk for about 1 minute while you're doing this. This concludes this PowerPoint.